The girl looked dead when Elias Carter first saw her lying in the blazing dust of the Kansas prairie. For a moment, he thought the sun itself had hurled her there and tried to finish her off. Her dress was ripped to ribbons. Her skin was scorched raw. Her lips were cracked open like they had begged the sky for mercy and been denied. Elias had seen bodies on the frontier before, but never one that still clung to life with nothing left to cling to. He was riding fence line along the Santa Fe Trail that morning. Heat shimmered off the ground like the whole world was breathing fire. His horse stopped, ears pinned. That was when Elias saw it, just a faint twitch in the dirt. Barely a movement. More like a whisper from someone too weak to speak. He dropped from the saddle and knelt beside her. Her breath rattled in her throat, thin as dry paper. Her eyelids fluttered like they weighed 100 pounds. Then her gaze drifted to the canteen at his hip. Her mouth opened enough for one broken whisper. "Put it, in my mouth." The word struck him harder than any blow. He lifted her head carefully and let a trickle of water fall onto her tongue. She gasped like someone tasting life after being sure life was finished with them. Her fingers suddenly clutched his wrist, desperate, terrified to lose even a drop. "Easy," Elias murmured. "Too fast'll hurt you." But she did not hear him. She was fighting her way back from whatever stood between her and the next world. Her whole body trembled. Her face was red, blistered, nearly cooked by the sun. A churned trail of dust behind her showed she had walked far, maybe through the night, maybe through hell itself. While Elias fed her another sip, hoofbeats echoed over the ridge. A lone rider slowed, stared down at the sight, a rancher kneeling over a young woman who couldn't move. The man watched too long, then turned his horse and thundered toward Dodge City. Elias felt his stomach sink. Stories in Dodge City traveled faster than a bullet, and changed shape even quicker. The girl's hand tightened weakly around his fingers. Did he find me? That chilled him more than the sight of her broken body. He had no answer, only questions he wasn't sure he wanted answered. He lifted her into his arms, afraid she might fall apart if he shifted wrong. She was too light for her age, and her head rested against his chest like she had not known safety in a long time. The wind pushed dust across his boots as if it wanted to hide her again, but Elias held her tighter. He rode straight home. His cabin on the Arkansas River stood quiet in the cottonwoods. That quiet had followed him since his wife passed. He kicked the door open, laid the girl on the bed, and hesitated. She looked like someone walking the edge between life and death. She woke only long enough to whisper, "Please, don't let him find me." Elias wiped the dust from her forehead. Her breathing steadied. He boiled beans, spooned broth gently into her mouth. Even half-conscious, she swallowed like someone who hadn't tasted comfort in years. Then fever struck hard. Her body shook. Her teeth chattered. Elias sat beside her, cooling her face again and again, memories clawing at him, memories of watching sickness take the woman he loved. "Not again," he whispered. "Not if I can help it." Coyotes howled across the river, a sound that usually meant nothing. But tonight it scraped at him. And he couldn't forget the rider who'd seen them on the prairie. A man like that could twist a harmless moment into something ugly, especially if the man she feared was already hunting her. Just before dawn, she stirred. "My name." "Lily May," she whispered. He asked what she had run from, but she only turned her face into the pillow. Whatever she'd escaped still chased her in her dreams. By midday, riders appeared, 3 silhouettes cutting across the field. Lily's spoon fell from her hand at the sound of hooves. She stared at the door like the devil himself was approaching. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay inside." But she only shook her head. The riders stopped. One wore a marshal's badge. One held a folder thick with papers. And the third, Clayton Briggs, sat tall on his horse in fine clothes, smiling like a man who believed the world owed him every inch of it. Briggs pointed at Lily. There she is. She belongs to me. And that man is harboring a runaway. The marshal cleared his throat. There's a formal complaint. The young woman is under contract. She owes labor and wages. We're here to retrieve her. Lily nearly collapsed. Elias stepped in front of her. She's not property. She's not a mule. And she sure as hell doesn't belong to you. Briggs smiled like a snake. The paper says otherwise, Carter. Law's on my side. Unless you plan to dispute it with cash. The marshal added, you have until tomorrow morning to settle it in Dodge City. If not, we'll take her by force. Dust swirled as they rode away. Lily clutched the doorframe, breath shaking. That night, Elias sat at the table staring at the contract. Ink and lies. If he went to Dodge City, he walked straight into a wolf's den. If he stayed home, Lily would be dragged back to a life that would kill her slowly. Dawn came. Lily stepped out wrapped in a blanket, her voice thin. You don't have to do this. I'm just trouble. Elias shook his head. No decent man lets someone be hauled back into hell because the world says it's legal. They rode to Dodge City. The saloon was full. Briggs stood behind the bar, smug as ever. I knew you'd come, he said. Heroes always pay the highest price. Elias offered money, more than he could spare. Briggs wanted more. He demanded a strip of Elias's grazing land along the river. Land Elias had kept since the day his wife died. Then Briggs leaned in and whispered, I'll take it one way or another. The whole saloon held its breath. Elias stared into the man's greedy smile. Today, he said, I'm buying her freedom, not your permission. The clerk wrote the agreement. The marshal confirmed it. Briggs signed, though anger twitched in his jaw. And Lily May Harper became a free woman. But freedom had a price. Before they reached the ranch, a rider delivered a notice, an old debt Elias had forgotten, one Briggs had secretly purchased. The ranch would be seized in 30 days. Most of the land would be lost. That evening, Elias stood at the edge of his land, the notice in hand. Lily stood beside him with a shovel, two silhouettes against a dying sun, facing loss, refusing to bow. Weeks passed. The ranch shrank, but life grew. Lily planted vegetables. Elias rebuilt the chicken coop. Neighbors nodded with respect. No one dared call Lily property again. Some nights they sat on the porch with the lamplight glowing through the doorway. Lily talked of dreams. Elias listened with the quiet patience of a man who finally remembered what hope felt like. He wasn't trying to be her hero. He just chose to stand beside her. And sometimes that is the kind of saving a person needs.